All right, this is Art Jonak in Houston, Texas, and I want to welcome all the magnificent leaders within the network marketing profession who are calling in here tonight. And boy, do we have a treat for you. I do hope that you have a pen and paper handy if possible to take a few notes. This is the Mastermind Event Preview Call, kind of a teleclass that we offer for free. Obviously, we want to raise awareness about the Network Marketing Mastermind event, but if you can't make it, we want to give you a lot of value that you can take and apply directly into your network marketing business, whichever business it is that you've chosen to call home. Part of what we do at the Network Marketing Mastermind event is our belief is very simple. A rising tide lifts all ships. That's what we believe in, and all the faculty members that are flying in and contributing their time for 3 days to share their best insights, their best practices, their best philosophies, their best core values working in today's marketplace. They're coming in from different companies. They are all top leaders within their own companies. They're top earners. And they're building friendships and they're building a bond. And what's happening is there's this mastermind effect that happens through the faculty, and then it trickles into the organizations. It trickles into the attendees. Those of you that were at the event last year, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because I know many of you left that event with a whole new set of friends, a whole new appreciation for our profession, a whole new place to call if you have challenges or have a question. It just became a larger community. It became a picture bigger than any one of our companies. And for that, I commend you, and I commend those of you here on the call. So let's just get straight into this. Tonight's guest is known as Mr. Beach Money, is what I call him. He's calling in from the desert somewhere in Arizona. We're going to find out where in a moment. First time I met him, I can't even put the date on it. I know it's over a decade ago. And I was at a Tom Big Al Schreider event. I sat down and I was in the audience, and there in the front row was this gentleman. He was nodding his head. He was taking notes. And I found out his name, and I just had to get near him because I'd heard about him. I heard about his success at the time. We went on to do an interview that day on building depth and duplication. It's actually one of the CDs in our mastermind packs. And from that point forward, he's just gone nowhere but upwards. And today, he separated himself from being one of the top 20 leaders in his company to becoming the #1 income earner in his company. And he's done it with grace. He's done it with respect. He's done it by honoring himself and his values, not being somebody else. He's done it with love. And he's done it by raising people up. He doesn't give people a handout, he gives them a hand up. And that's part of what we're going to talk about tonight is how do you get around that concept of if my organization starts getting really big, that organization is going to eat up all my time. And this gentleman's figured out how to make that not happen, and that's going to be the topic of our call. He's a 7-figure earner. He's written a book called Beach Money. You can go and check out on Amazon.com all the proceeds he gives to charity. It's not about the money, it's about the information in the book that hopefully can give you some more knowledge to be successful as well. Of course, many of you know I'm talking about Mr. Jordan Adler. Jordan, welcome to our call.
Art, you sure know how to make me look good. Thank you.
Well, I tell you what, my respect for you is through the roof. I'm always looking for a couple of people that I can say, no matter what, they won't let me down. No matter what, when I call them, they'll tell me the advice that's best for me. No matter what, they're going to uphold the profession. No matter what, they're going to try to do the best they can. And Jordan, you're one of my mentors and heroes in that area, and I just want to tell you that right up front, and it's absolutely the case. So I appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you, Art. Well, I'm extremely excited to be able to spend time with everyone tonight. This is really great. And I guess for some of the people listening in, it's not tonight, it's today.
It is. We've got people calling in from all over the world.
All over the world.
I appreciate those of you where it's 4 o'clock in the morning right now and you're dialing in and you just maybe hit the alarm clock set up so you can just listen to the call, and maybe you have to go to work in 3 hours. And so that shows me that you're hungry for the knowledge, and that's what we want to deliver here. Jordan, tonight's topic is one that I don't think is talked about probably enough, and it's one topic that maybe brand new people within network marketing wouldn't even know to ask. And the topic is this. Our job is to work our way out of a job, right?
That's right. That's right.
Begin with the end in mind. Stephen Covey, he says, what does the end look like? And unfortunately, you and I have seen this, and some of the callers have probably witnessed this, is that you work your way to a $10,000 monthly check or $20,000 or $50,000 monthly check or $80,000 monthly check. And instead of having the lifestyle that we all talk about in network marketing, the beach money as you like to refer to, we actually end up with 5, 6, 7 assistants, 80-hour work weeks. We're always spinning the plates, and the lifestyle is not there.
Right.
And so we arrive at a place where we go, how'd this happen? Why? How did this possibly happen? So tonight we're going to talk about how to avoid that from happening as best as we can, right?
Yeah, a lot of people, what they end up doing as they're building their business, even people that have built groups of 20 people, 10 people, I've seen them running around trying to keep up with all the activity, and they're essentially, what they're doing is they're just building themselves another job that owns them versus the other way around. You know, freeing themselves up. I had a boss. One of my last bosses, actually, at the airline when I was working for the airline. His name was Jack Birnbaum. Actually, Jack's a network marketer now, and Jack, he taught me a valuable lesson. He managed a group of about 600 people at the airline, and a very non-conventional thinking in a traditional corporate job. But he told me when I was very young, I was in my 20s, and he told me that my job is to replace myself. You know, here I am at the time making, I don't know, $15,000 a year at my airline job, and he tells me I need to replace myself. And that was a very unique concept in traditional corporate America, but it really served me because from that day on, I really trusted and respected Jack, and from that day on, I was always looking for ways to replace myself. He said, you become more valuable when you replace yourself. So your job is to train your replacement even before you plan on leaving. And as you do that, you become more valuable. And in his world, it was kind of like by doing that, you'll get promoted because you'll be worthy, or you'll be deserving of more responsibility and therefore more pay. That's the way that he framed it up in corporate America. But I just took that same idea and that same concept into my network marketing business once I got involved with network marketing and started to have some success.
So let's talk about that. I want to start here and want to make sure that we're not misleading or misguiding in the sense that, no, there's not going to be any work involved. You sponsor somebody and all of a sudden you've worked your way out of a job. There is a amount of work involved. It's just a matter of how we're doing the work, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm still actively recruiting and sponsoring people in my network marketing business, and when I sponsor somebody, I get them started in the business. My job is to prepare them with the tools, the philosophies, the culture that they need to be able to effectively, independently grow the business. My job is to create kind of an umbilical cord between them and the company, and then be there as a resource for them, but not do the business for them.
So I guess the way to look at this is to say that if we look at the end in mind, and the end in mind is to, and I hope some of you as you listen to this are thinking about that question, of what does my business look like ideally when it's completed, would be a nice way to look at that. And if I look at you, Jordan, your business is huge. It's massive. You just had a conference and you had, I think, 3,600 people there, and it's giving you a 7-figure annual income. But really, it's you and Megan, your assistant. I mean, you don't really have 600 employees, right? It's just the two of you.
And I see that a lot as people grow. They set up an infrastructure that they have to manage, and the idea is you want to manage your business in such a way that you don't have that infrastructure that requires your ongoing maintenance. And so I guess, you know, as you're making your choices and in terms of what you spend your time on with your new people, you know what I see? I see this a lot, Art, in the network marketing business. I see people, they'll sign up a few people and they'll help those people get a few people, and then they've got this little group and they start to manage that group. And they create a dependency so that those individuals need their upline. They have to have their upline to build the business, and without their upline, they can't do the business. So if their upline disappears, their business essentially stalls. And that's the opposite of the way that you really want to build the business. You want to build the business in such a way that you train and bring people up to a point where they don't need you. Now, you guys, if you're friends and you have a connection to those individuals because you like them and they're fun to hang out with. I mean, Art, you hang out with, I'm sure you have people in your organization that you hang out with and have fun with just because you like them and they're good friends, but they don't need you to build the business.
Correct.
So ultimately, my goal when I'm getting someone started is to train them, to provide them with what they need so that they can do the business on their own. And you've all seen, in fact, you mentioned it, Art, you've all seen the guy in the circus that's spinning plates. And he'll get one plate spinning on the little rod. I don't know what they call those things, but he'll get the one plate spinning, and then he'll get the second plate and the third plate and the fourth plate and the fifth plate. And then by the time he gets to the sixth or seventh plate, the one on the first rod starts to wobble. So what does he do is he runs back to the first plate and gets that spinning again, and then he goes and adds the 7th plate, and the 8th plate gets them spinning, and then the 2nd plate starts to wobble, and he runs back, and he spins that one, and he gets the 9th plate going, and then the 1st one starts to wobble again. He gets that one. By that time, the 3rd plate falls, and he grabs that one before he dives for it, grabs it before it hits the ground, puts that one up and gets spinning. Well, you can only spin so many plates at a time, right? He can only get so many plates spinning. And I see people doing this all the time. It's more common than not, where they're spinning plates. They're trying to keep their people motivated. Oh, I got to motivate this one. Oh, no, this one's starting to wobble. I got to motivate that one. Well, this one over here is starting to wobble. I got to motivate that one. And so they're running back and forth between their people, and that's the formula for burnout. And you can only manage so many people. If you have to be there, if you have to be the one to motivate and to prop up and to always be doing the business for your people, then you'll only be able to build your business as large as you can reach. You want to be able to have a business that spans the country and eventually the globe. And in order to do that, you've got to essentially train people who train people to spin the plate, so to speak. And then everybody's always training the next plate spinner, right? And then in the beginning, you always do feel like you're spinning plates until you're able to replace yourself and get somebody else to spin the plate. And then they train people to do the same, and it's always being passed on. And you know what? In actuality, nobody really does the business. If you think about it, nobody really does the business. Everybody just gets somebody started. We all do just a little bit. Ideally, we get a lot of people doing a little bit. Imagine you having 300, 500, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 people all doing a little bit. Mm-hmm. So nobody has to do a lot. Everybody just does a little. Yeah. So my job, I don't need to set up big offices. I don't need to manage this infrastructure of activity for my people. As soon as I do that, I've just created a liability for myself. I've just disabled my group. As soon as I have to do it all for them, I want to get lots of people doing a little, and then they want to empower their team to do the same thing. Does that make sense?
It does, and part of what I'm hearing is that when I first got started in network marketing, or if I'm talking to the majority of what I call candidates or prospects, this is almost like a dichotomy of beliefs, because number one, you have one assistant. If I look at Randy Gage, he's got, one assistant. You look at Donna Johnson, and she's got one assistant. Now, Donna hasn't earned less than $100,000 a month, I think, in 6 years.
Right.
Warren Woodward has one assistant. If I go see him, I mean, it's a very relaxing day. I want to kind of tout network marketing's horn a little bit here, is that I want, if everybody could, hang out with Jordan for one day, and Warren Woodward for one day, and Randy Gage for one day, and Donna Johnson for one day, I think the belief would go, whoa, I can earn a 7-figure annual income, and unlike almost any other profession, I don't have to do any kind of overhead. Like, I have one assistant that helps me just, manage my time better. That's it.
And that's unheard of in traditional business.
It's unheard of almost anywhere. And that's why I want to make sure that people listening in don't say, well, that's just impossible, because that's the reality. That's the goal.
That's the reality, is you get true leverage. You get a lot of people doing a little. I was with Donna last week I think it was on Thursday afternoon. We went and grabbed sushi in Phoenix. And we sat for 2 hours, and neither of our phones rang for 2 hours. Neither of them. And we both had them on. They were both sitting on the table, but neither of our phones rang. And, people just imagine, if you've got that many people. In fact, that's a common question, Art, that I get is, I think my team has 59,000 some people, and people just imagine, well, the question comes up a lot, how do you manage all those people?